Is this thing on? Oh, it looks like it is. If you're listening to this recording, it means I've been in a nursing home. They didn't even let the robots take care of me. It's so much easier than whenever I was a kid. Well, this recording is to tell you all about it. You know, when I was a kid, we didn't have all those robotic stuff. In fact, we had a little bit less than that. In fact, we didn't have any robots at all. Those computers that everyone uses nowadays, oh yeah, they weren't existent back then. It was so hard to get by when you were totally blind at that time in the early 2000s. But I found this recording that a couple of friends and I did back in the day. So for my future great-grandkids, if they ever get a hold of this, this is what we used back in the day. Now, if only I can find the play button. Oh, here it is. I hope you enjoy it.
The views expressed on Teachavision are those of the interviewee and interviewer and do not represent Screenless Allies as a whole. Each sold separately, batteries not included, a dose assembly required, and other disclaimers on television you've heard all the time apply here as well.
Hello there, and welcome to Teachavision, where everyone has a different vision of learning, episode number 16. My name is Jose Briseño, and today we have a very special treat for you guys. This is not an interview, but it is also not a presentation. Today, I gathered up a couple of my childhood friends, Mariah and Edgar, who are both totally blind. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why? Well, today, and on the next few episodes of Teachavision, we're going to discuss the evolution of assistive technology for the blind and visually impaired. There are so many assistive technology devices that have been around for years. However, in this series, we're only going to look at the technology that we used when we were younger. A bit of a history about the three of us. We at one point went to a camp together when we were kids. We all met in a radio program at the Texas School for the Blind and Visually Impaired. And ever since, we have kept in touch, and to this day, we continue to talk every once in a while. Thank you to both of them for helping me out with this presentation. This is a bit of a roundtable of sorts, where we're going to discuss hardware and software that we all used and our thoughts on it. On this part, we're going to look at the Braille note taker. Now, what is a Braille note taker, you're asking yourself? Well, a note taker was a special personal data assistant, PDA, for the blind. Think of it as a laptop computer. However, instead of a screen, it was a Braille display, which is basically a screen, but in Braille. These note takers had book readers, word processors, calculators, and calendars, and a few more features. There were many models of these note takers. These note takers had a Braille keyboard. That is, instead of the QWERTY keyboard, it had all 6 dots of the Braille cell with the backspace and enter key, except for the older Braille-like models. Those only had the 6 keys and a space bar. The note takers we will discuss are the Braille Lite and Braille Note for this edition. However, honorable mentions on the Braille Lite series go to the Braille and Speak, which was basically a note taker but without the Braille display, and the Type and Speak, which was a QWERTY edition of the Braille and Speak. Also, the Type Lite was the Braille Lite's companion but in QWERTY format. Want to know what these note takers did in our experiences? Tune in and find out on this very special episode of Teachavision by Screenless Allies. Welcome to this first ever roundtable on the Teachavision podcast, where we're going to discuss everything in the history of assistive technology that we have used. Yes, I say we because I have 2 childhood friends from way back in the day that are going to help me participate. So we'll let them introduce themselves. We'll start with the ladies first. Ma'am, if you can tell us your name, are you totally blind, are you visually impaired, and how long have you used assistive technology for?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mariah Long. I have been totally blind since birth. So to put that in perspective, I am 25. And I've been using assistive technology for, I'd say, maybe 20 years. Maybe a little less, maybe a little more, give or take. Glad to be here.
Well, thanks for helping me out for sure. The next person here is another one of our good old childhood mutual friends here. The second person, go ahead, same drill.
My name is Edgar. I am totally blind as well. I lost my vision when I was 1 year old, and I've been using assistive technology since I think I might have been maybe 12 or 11 years old when I started picking up braille note for the first time. Yeah, that was my first time using assistive technology.
For sure, man. And of course, I'm Jose, and I'm totally blind. I'm the handsome host of the Teachavision podcast, as everyone knows. But I am.
Hey, ladies, he's single.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. I'm totally blind. I've been using technology since 2005, actually, in that area, but I started using note takers in 2003. So we'll go back to those.
You've been using tech since 04 because we were in that class together. Don't lie.
Well, actually, believe it or not, I actually used it in 03 because
the
first piece of equipment I got was the braille light. Was the first piece
Oh
of equipment I
God.
used. Which goes
I
into the
remember
conversation here. So we're going to go pre-braille notes, okay? We're going to go the pre-braille. We're going to start with the hardware. Mariah, you already kind of did a bit of an inward groan there on the braille light. Now,
Actually, if you want to go further back, Mountbatten.
oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember that. Yeah.
See?
The
This is why you need me.
The electric brailler. Geez, that was back in 2000. I used that in 2001, 2002. Mine didn't talk. There were two models.
I had one that talked.
Yeah, one of them did not talk.
Cool.
I had the non-talking one. That one didn't do much, but the model that Mariah had, I believe you could actually like play games and things and teach how to braille, correct? Is that what yours did?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly. It's been a while. I have to sit down with one. But if you're going for like note taker hardware, like that was like the braille light would be your best bet. But Mountbatten was a whole another monster. It was an electric braille. It was louder than any freaking Perkins brailler you could ever have. It was a nifty piece of tech. But like braille light, braille and speak, actually, no. Braille and speak is where you want to go.
So the braille and speak had no braille display on it. I remember that.
Really?
Nope.
No,
No, it didn't.
it did not have a braille
The
display.
Braille Light was the first in the line. It was Braille and Speak, and then the Braille Light, and then like Braille Light Millennium, and then you moved on to like the PackMate.
Yeah, and we'll get there. So yeah,
Oh,
the
Braille
braille light.
and Speak.
Edgar, did you use the braille light, man, when you were a kid? Did you ever get to play with one? And what
Yeah,
was your perspective on it?
So I think I used the braille light was the first piece of technology that I picked up, but I did not use it as a regular device during school, because the first time that my teacher of the visually impaired introduced me to it, she was just teaching me the basics of how to use a note taker, and so that's the first piece of technology that I got started with. I never actually used it regularly, as I said. So
Guys, y'all can't tell me because the voice on that Braille and Speak, the Braille Light, was very flexible. It was very
Oh,
robotic,
yeah.
as you can hear on this background clip
Oh,
here.
yeah.
And we gotta admit, we messed with the voice a little bit by typing in like a lot of letter A's or something
Yeah.
to that effect.
I mean,
Some
you
of
were
us
like
did.
7, so of course you did. Like, when you
Yeah,
pick up
exactly.
a piece of tech like this, you're like 8, and you're like, oh,
Yep.
I want to see what it does. So you go, ah. So of course
yeah,
you did.
you're mesmerized by all of it. Yeah.
Except for at the
Hello?
time, it was more like, So,
No,
Yeah.
it'd go, ah, because it would modulate. Ah.
and
It would
that's
do
how
its
you would
thing.
make music with a Braille Light. Okay,
Eh,
coming up next,
mhm.
don't miss the new single of Screenless Allies called Ah. So, now,
Yeah.
I can make this a thing, you know. It can be a thing.
You should.
that should be the theme song. Okay, for this.
You know what? Yeah. You know what? I have ideas. Anyway,
Okay.
moving on.
All right, so moving from the Braille Light. Now, let me tell you, at the time, you could not do much with this note taker, if you will. You could do the basics of word processing. You could do like basic calendar entry, but you couldn't do much after that now, could you guys, on the Braille Lights?
No,
You
I
could do
don't.
more
I don't
than you
remember
thought
its
you could.
limitations. Yeah,
You could do more than you
could.
thought you could. Like, there were ways, but when this came out, I was like 6. So I wasn't going to try and figure out
Yeah,
how to make the Braille lights sing. But, you know, there were things you could do. I mean, you could do more than you thought you could, which is pretty impressive.
And that transitioned because we had the Braille Light for a while, and then we went over to the Braille Note from Paul Stata. Now, that was before Paul Stata and Visuade. Canada became Humanware. And at the time, it was the Braille Note Classic, and it brought a evolution of note taking in regards to things like the menu system. You didn't have to learn like a lot of commands. It was pretty straightforward. Now, I had the Braille Note Classic myself, and I actually started using that in 2004. And that was back in the day. And I remember that my favorite thing of that thing was, it was simple to, do word processing and then go in there. I could not listen to music. I was not allowed to download any music onto it.
I could.
Yeah, you brag all you want.
I had an Empower in 2004.
Okay, so yeah, that was when the
my-
Empower came out in 2004.
Yeah, so I had an Empower, and I love that thing. It did everything I needed it to do. I thought infrared embossing was like the greatest thing since sliced bread. Guys, it had serial ports.
Oh, I
Excuse
remember
me,
that.
like,
True, yeah.
Mine had
like
the
Braille had parallel.
Yeah, mine
Oh,
had
God.
parallel.
Oh
You
gosh,
guys
the
remember
parallel ports.
Oh
yeah.
my
You guys
god.
remember the parallel port and the compact flash card, which you would find on PDAs.
No. PC MCIA.
Oh, now we're going
Oh,
back even
yeah.
more.
The PC.
Jeez.
Yep.
The PC. That was where the Concise Oxford Dictionary and Thesaurus was installed for that
Oh
thing.
my god. Man, I used to have a lot of fun looking up words that I had no business looking up in the dictionary just because I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Like I had a dictionary at my fingertips.
The difference between the Empower and the Classic was that the Braille Note Empower actually had...
Empower's better.
Yeah, we can say that. It had recording capability. The Empower did.
Yep.
It had an FM
the
radio,
Classic did
which... Mariah...
Not until Keysoft 7.
Right.
No, not until 7.
Right, but in the
Oh,
end,
yeah,
it had
yeah.
an FM radio. But Mariah, you got to remember when we went to that program, Keysoft 7 was like
So
the
there's
new
a
thing.
story I like to tell.
Yeah. Oh.
So there's a story I like to tell, and a friend of ours, it was me, Jose, and a friend of ours, and our teacher at the time at the school for the blind that we went to was like, so y'all, there's a Braille Note Empower here with Keysoft 7, and you guys are going to draw straws to see who gets to play with it first. And I got the straw. I got to play with it the first night. There was an FM. Y'all, this is the coolest thing since jarred mayonnaise. There was an FM radio. There were text adventure games. Okay, I got in trouble so much in school for playing text adventure games. Like, don't even go text adventure games and FM radio. Like, it had eloquence on it. Okay, like that was the greatest thing. It had better bookshare capabilities if you wanted to read. The Empower had it, although I was still partial to PackMate. I thought PackMate was a lot cooler.
And so the end of that story was...
I've never used a PackMate before.
Yeah.
I don't know how those things work.
PackMates
Right.
are-
So the end of the story on that straw was the second night, I ended up drawing the straw. And we actually
It was his.
got to the point where we made this poor mutual friend cry because she was supposed to leave like the third day, like at 9:00 a.m. So... Poor girl. Yeah,
She
so I
had to leave
ended
at
up...
noon, and so she only got the Braille Note for like a couple hours. It was really bad.
It was bad. But the
Wow.
Braille Note was, at the time, compared to my Classic, because my Classic, it didn't have much, I mean, you could do the basics.
Yeah,
of-
going back to the Classic, the only thing that I remember really using was the word processing feature, and I think it had
Same.
did it have the calendar?
It did. It had the planner.
planner?
It had the
Yes.
calculator. But you couldn't do fractions on it, so you had parallel
Oh
embossing
man, that was
and
another
things.
thing. That was another big deal.
So
Yeah.
doing fractions was definitely like a big thing for sure. We're kind of moving from the Braille Note because all the Braille Notes had kind of the same thing. Now, kind of honorable mentions later on in 2008, 2009, the Braille Note Apex came out. Now,
Yep.
Edgar, you use this thing, man. You and I got to use it. What did you think about it when it came out, man, at the time?
Yeah, so I actually felt kind of honored because at the time when the Braille Note Apex came out, I was going to the School for the Blind in Texas, and I was probably the first person, actually I was the first person to receive a brand new Braille Note Apex. I was there when it was being unboxed and everything, and I was the first to get
That's
it,
hot.
to get a hold of it, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever. It was basically a Braille Note Empower on steroids.
And thinner, too. It looked
I
much
was just about to
thinner.
say, like, that's
And
essentially
thinner.
what it was.
It was, and
Yeah,
there was
it was
no...
essentially that. And it had a lot more memory on it. Like, I think it had 8 gigabytes of memory, whereas the Braille Note Empower only had like 128 megabytes, or how much?
Yeah, 128
Yeah.
megabytes. And the
128
Classic...
flash disk space.
Yeah, and the Classic had 15 megabytes. So I had to do a lot of
Oh my
storage on the
gosh.
compact flash card. But the Apex was like the big thing for all of us, and that was actually the last version of the Braille note that had the familiar interface that we got used to, because then in 2016, the Braille note Touch came
They
out.
broke it. I don't want to talk
Yep.
about it.
So
I don't either.
All right, guys.
I never used it. Have you guys used it?
No, but I've seen demos and I think it's the clunkiest thing ever, and I don't want to touch it. I want nothing to do with it.
So that kind of is a bit of a geek thing here. The old Braille notes ran Windows CE, which was kind of the mobile operating system, and now the Braille note Touch and the Touch Plus has Android, but the interface
They're
is
just
just
trying
like
too
a
hard.
whole lot differently. So yeah.
What I will say about the Touch, though, is it is really cool that it can run some native Android apps, which is one thing that the Braille notes could never do. So we were very limited when we were in school as to what we could and couldn't do. We were very limited, and now with the Touches, you can run things like Dropbox and
Anchor.
native
Where you can listen to
Android
this
apps. Like, it's a
podcast.
thing you can do.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of Teachavision by Screenless Allies. We'll see you on the next one. Meanwhile, you can check out our website at screenlessallies.com. SCREENLESSALLIES.com. Check out our Facebook, facebook.com/screenlessalliesofficial. And most importantly, please tell your friends about us. And if you have any suggestions or comments or questions, you can definitely email those to info@screenlessallies.com. We'll see you next time, and thank you for listening.